Hey guys, welcome to Ship Master Tutorials is what I'm going to call it, even though it's on my Ship Master 2410 channel. I will be describing how to play, well, not entirely, but part 1 of the somewhat part tutorial on how to play Simple Rocket, Spaceflight Simulator version 1.5, the Foundation update. I'll describe this in 10 minutes, how to build a rocket and what the parts are. I will start the timer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so first thing you want to do is going to press play. And then you're going to press the create world. You have 3 slots. You can press main menu to go back. So I'm just going to name this Ship Master Tutorials, because I can spell great. So you're going to click do create world, solar system default. This is if you have none, like no in-game products. And then you're going to press build rocket. So now you're here. There is 3 different types of fuel tanks. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm sorry, there's 4. Each one is the same, but they're different heights. So if you stack them all up, they will all equal the same height and the same mass. You got to worry about mass and how much fuel it is. So these all equal one big fuel tank. So those are the fuel tanks. Next thing you're going to want to know is the rocket engines. There are different types of rocket engines. There are, let's skip these 3. There are this one, and this one. Honestly, I would barely even use this tiny one over here. So let's just take that out of the way. So the 2 main ones you're going to be focusing on are the Valiant engine and the Hawk engine. Hawk engine's mainly used for takeoff. If you have a small, tiny little rocket about this big, then you could probably take this off no problem. And you can't have anything else. This is not really, you do not want to use this for taking off. This right here you want to use for taking off. Just look at the power. Yeah, that's what I thought. So this is used for mid-stage, like when you're in space, or maybe you're just a little bit up to space and you need to set court. This is for taking off and maybe landing on the moon. I would not use this for landing on the moon unless you have a design somewhat like this that will help you land on the moon, where you have, okay. That will help you land on the moon. So those are the engines. The next thing we're going to go into is the separation. So this is stage separation 1. Let's say you have this. What this will do, this will cut off. Oh wait, there's no control. So you have to have one of these. Always have to have one of these. Doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, you have to have that right there. So you put that up, and then now you can disconnect. So this actually did just disconnect. So what you can do now is actually move this up a little bit, and then you can add a booster right there. So now you will know it disconnects when you can turn on the booster. But how, you ask? How do you turn on a booster? All you got to do is just tap on the booster, and it'll say engine on. Then this here is your throttle. 0.5 throttle is like nothing. Then 100 throttle will get you up. It's really hard to get off the ground with 50 throttle. So I wouldn't recommend takeoff with 50 throttle unless you have a lot of engines. I'd recommend takeoff with 100 throttle, and then you can maybe scale it back down to 50 once you're above 10,000 feet where gravity gets lower and you can jump and the rocket will go faster. So next thing you're going to want to know is the second part of stage separation. This is what you're going to probably use for secondary boosters. So to actually select them, you tap on them, and to unselect, you tap on it again, and then you can duplicate it by pressing that, duplicate, and then turn it around either way, or maybe just rotate it to your will. So now that we have all that ready, you can turn on your engine, and let's say these run out of fuel. No worries, just detach them. Yeah, that actually didn't go that well. Okay, we have 5 minutes. Aerodynamics. Yes, you're going to need to have aerodynamics. When you have side boosters like this, I would use these kinds of whatever they're called. But if you just have you're probably just going to want to use these, or maybe you can use this. But I wouldn't recommend doing that. All I would do is maybe if you'd have something like that, you'd put your main thing right here and have it like that. Perfect. Anywho, those are the two different kinds of separations. Next thing you're going to need to know is landing gear. So for landing gear, you could probably do this, and then put one of these aerodynamic nose cones on it, just like that, and then bam, bam, bam. So if you want to land your rocket, so you've gone up really far and then now you want to land it, you're going to just deploy these, and you won't land with such a bump that you will destroy the rocket. Because if you don't have these and you try to land, then well, you're good luck. Okay, anyways, we have 4 minutes and 20 seconds left. Next thing we're going to need to talk about is 6 wide. 6 wide is pretty much the same thing, but it's wider. It's double the height. So a big one, they're the same size, but this is pretty much just double the original. These right, actually maybe they're not double the original, but they're pretty close to double the original. So those are 6 wide. These I'm guessing are 1 or 2 wide. So that's how you do that. There's save blueprint. Let's say you want to save this rocket and use it again. You say save. There's load. There's move rocket, which selects all the parts in the rocket. There's clear rocket, which clears your rocket. There's settings, which turns on and off that. Then there's resume game, which goes back to where you were. So if you go back to next thing we're going to do is Rcs Nozzle. Rcs Nozzle. So these just help you navigate. So I mean, you could put some right here, some like that. So all you got to do is press 1 to turn it on, and then bam, if you want to go one way, you can go that way. So you have this right here, bam, 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 you go high. But let's say you find a crater on the moon, you can push the nozzle to go the other way, or the other way. The bottom is the nozzle, and the top is what you normally do without the nozzle. And it just helps you spin. Next thing we're going to go into is aerodynamics. If you on the top of the rocket, you're going to want to use this. Parachutes also come in handy when you don't want to land yourself. You can also use the Rcs Nozzle to go up. So let's say you land. You can only deploy the parachute, any parachute, when you are below 2,500 meters, and your velocity is less than 250 meters per second. Next thing you're going to want to know is there's also this kind of parachute which doesn't go on the top, but it goes on the side. So if you're going really high, going really fast, and you need another parachute that's not just this, then I would use that. We have about a minute 50 left. Fairings are, let's say you want to hide something, like let's say you're making a rover or something, and you want it to be protected. You would use, yep, you guessed it, fairings. Like the Perseverance rover had a fairing. So when you go up, so when they were at a certain point, they can just detach the fairings. By the way, you click on the fairings to detach it. And I wouldn't do it the way I'm doing it when you're moving. You must try to be stopped. Next thing we're going to go into is structural. This is just for lightweight rovers, maybe make a crane, whatever. The landing legs we talked about, these are the same. You can dock and connect. So you can connect with other rockets like the ISS, or just connect a fuel tank. You can unconnect too. These nozzles we already talked about. Wheels, well, I mean, you guessed it, I don't really have to explain them. The only thing I do have to explain with these, though, is that they will only work when you click them. So if you go like da 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 da, that won't work, but you have to turn them on. Bam, that will work. And then the last thing, there's like 30 seconds left. There are solar panels. Solar panels, if you're for some reason you have electricity, then you can use those. But you can also use these to push stuff off. You'll figure that out. So in the last 20 seconds left, I will show you that you can get more parts, and a bigger plane, which is actually like $4. But yeah, so for the last 8 seconds, that is the basics of building rockets, and there is the time limit. Yep, yeah, I know. So that's how you build a rocket, and actually launch it, what the aerodynamics and all that. And I went over everything. Besides the probe really doesn't matter. All you do is just like send one-way missions like the Tesla Roadster that got shot up in space by the Falcon 9. Okay, wait, was it the Falcon 9? Anywho, that is how you do it. So make sure to like and make sure to subscribe. Let's hit 100 likes. Try to get 100 likes for another 10-minute tutorial, and see ya!